Welcome back. You're watching Credlin with Chris Smith. As I mentioned at the top of the show, we started the week celebrating the Queen's birthday honours and finished it with Putin's honours list, or as he calls them, sanctions for pushing a Russophobic agenda. One Aussie who's joined this list is Peter Jennings, Director of Peter Jennings Strategy Consultants and the former head of ASPI. Peter, congratulations, almost better than an OAM.
Thank you, Chris. Well, at least I'm on one list, so that's pretty good news.
What a silly thing to do. It's almost childish tit-for-tat diplomacy, isn't it?
It does look very much like the Russian embassy was given, 45 minutes to put together a list, and it's a fairly random collection of people that are there. I'm pleased to be there because I've actually been pretty critical of the Russian regime during the course of the Ukrainian conflict. But yes, it is just tit for tat. It reflects the fact that Australia has mounted its own sanctions. But our sanctions are against, the oligarchs that keep Putin in power, the military that are commissioning war crimes in Ukraine. In other words, there's a purpose to what Australia is doing. And it just goes to show how in an authoritarian system like Russia, the legal system, the police, everything else can simply just be bent to the use of the political leader, Vladimir Putin. And here he's trying to make a point that if Australia can sanction Russians, well, Russians can sanction Australians.
You're right about this 40-minute hurriedly formulated list because, interestingly, there was only one Australian politician on the list, the new South Australian Premier. However, that might soon change after it was revealed that Anthony Albanese has been invited by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to visit Kiev when the PM travels to Europe later this month for NATO.
I would really love to see the Prime Minister take up that offer. I think Australia has been a strong supporter of Ukraine. The previous government surprised me, in fact, by providing military assistance, although I'm delighted that it did. And I think it would be great for Albanese to go there and see firsthand what's needed, because more support is required and Australia should be doing more, including with lethal military aid. So I think great if the Prime Minister goes there. And Chris, it's also an important reminder to Albanese that Australia's interests are not simply narrow to Asia and the Pacific. We actually have European interests. And so the fact that Mr Albanese is going to talk to a NATO meeting as one of NATO's most important non-NATO partners is a reminder that Australia has global interests and we need to be prosecuting those wherever it takes Australia.
Peter, the Prime Minister was a bit coy on this offer today. Have a listen to the way he answered a question about it.
I'll take appropriate advice, and obviously there are security issues as well in terms of such a visit. I appreciate the spirit in which it's been offered.
Peter, can you work out why he was so coy there? Because I don't know whether he feels he's being rewarded for what the Morrison government did in helping Ukrainians and their army. Maybe there could be a little bit of that, but he's got to go. You're not going to turn down an offer to go to Kiev.
Who would not want to be having a photo opportunity with Volodymyr Zelensky? I mean, he's probably one of the most popular politicians on the face of the planet right now. What Mr Albanese needs to do is not take advice. He needs to take a decision. And the obvious decision is to go and provide that support to the people of Ukraine. I think it would be a terrible step backwards if he didn't do that. And really, Australia as a meaningful, consequential democracy in the world, we need to be stepping forward and doing our bit. And that means that Anthony Albanese should go. And he will be every bit as secure as Boris Johnson, the French, German and Italian Prime Ministers and many, many other European leaders that have now visited Kyiv.
Yes.